Ever since Russia's invasion of Ukraine on February 24th, misinformation about the crisis has spread rapidly online. So when I saw this tweet claiming that CNN was faking war footage in Ukraine, I knew I had to take a closer look. The tweet claims that CNN started a fire in Edmonton, Canada, and made it look like they were reporting from Lviv, Ukraine. Their evidence? That the firefighters seen in the background are wearing uniforms with Edmonton on the back. And this Twitter user wasn't the only one that seemed to pick up on this. Well, that tweet I showed you has since been deleted. Here's another that's still up that suggests the same thing. So what's the deal with this footage? Time to find out. Is this legit? Hey guys, it's Ian, and welcome back to Is This Legit? A YouTube series brought to you by MediaWise and PBS Student Reporting Labs. Here we debunk viral misinformation online while also teaching you some easy fact-checking tips. Let's start with probably the most important media literacy tip I can give you. Trust your gut. Simply staying skeptical of the things you see online will help you not fall for or share misinformation. If the vibe is off, or you feel like something is sus, look into it. In that case, let's jump right into this claim and find out what's really happening in CNN's footage. The best thing to do when it comes to screenshots or short clips of videos online is to track down the original source. And after Googling CNN Ukrainian fires Lviv, I found the full CNN broadcast. Take a look.
And said that he's posting information on social media to make sure information about what was involved in a residential building or other infrastructure objects. That was not confirmed. But again, the flames are pouring out of this building. There are more people showing up, more emergency workers and media.
We've seen the original clip. Now let's try and find some concrete evidence to debunk the claim that this was filmed in Canada. To do this, we're going to use a fantastic media literacy tip used to fact-check suspicious photos and videos called geolocating. Geolocation is the process of using information in a photo or video to identify its geographic location so that you can confirm its authenticity. A great tool for geolocation is Google Maps' Street View, which has mapped out pretty much the entire planet. If you're unsure whether a situation happened where someone is claiming that it did, try to cross-reference the background with Google Maps and look for key landmarks. After some searching, I was able to find the area where CNN's Don Lemon was reporting from, which was northeast of Lviv. Look at how the sidings on the buildings look identical, so I'm pretty positive that the footage wasn't staged in Edmonton, Canada. But if you want to double check your work, or let's be real, save yourself some time, you can always try a trusty keyword search. I used the words CNN, Ukraine footage, Edmonton, Canada, and added in the words fact check for good measures, and found numerous debunks, from Reuters, Politifact, Snopes, and CNN. According to Politifact, the real story is that those jackets were actually donated to the Ukrainian firefighters by an Edmonton organization called Firefighter Aid Ukraine. And Kevin Royal, a spokesperson for the group, told CNN that the coats, quote, came from our program most definitely. Royal said that since the conflict began, the group has sent hundreds of pieces of gear to Ukraine. And while the gear is supposed to be plain and stripped of identifying information, some pieces occasionally fall through the cracks. Reading through the rest of the articles, most of them included a link to a Facebook message written by Edmonton's fire chief. He wrote, quote, by now, most of you would have seen the CNN footage of one of our Edmonton bunker jackets in Lviv, Ukraine. I am grateful to many of our many EFRS members who volunteer for Firefighter Aid Ukraine, and Kevin Royal, who has organized the donation of gear to Ukraine since 2016. But again, as I mentioned, Russia's attack on Ukraine has been well documented and reported on. And according to New York Times, Russia's defense ministry publicly stated that they used air-based missiles in Lviv, Ukraine. Now for our rating. The claim that CNN staged war footage is not legit. The suits worn by those firefighters that said Edmonton were donated by a Canadian organization. But before you go, as someone who's interested in journalism and fact-checking, seeing claims that major news organizations would go as far as to fake war footage was pretty disappointing. It's tough to see this level of distrust in the media. So if you're wondering how to determine if a source is reliable, there are a couple of things I do before reshare. First, I look for editorial standards that include policies for corrections and things like transparency. I usually just Google the organization's name and, quote, editorial standards. Bonus points if they have a detailed process for fact-checking. Next, always read upstream and double-check that the sources linked in the article are actually saying what the article claims they do. Sometimes, bogus stories will link to official documents or studies that actually state the opposite of their reporting. They do this because they know most people won't take the time to check it out. I hope that helps. Be sure to fact check before you share. But if you need help with a claim, feel free to tag us and use a hashtag #IsThisLegit. It could be featured in a future episode. Bye guys.
Don't compromise, be media wise.